Oh, hello, and welcome to another great SEGA Nerds interview. I'm Graham, the European editor of SEGA Nerds. Unfortunately, I fear to see that Chris can't be here with us here today. Yeah, apparently having a family means you actually have to look after your kids or something. I don't know. But we've got a great show tonight.
He's lying. He's hungover and he can't make it. You know that.
That there is our guest tonight, and that's Roger Craig Smith, the voice behind many modern gaming icons. Most notably for SEGA Nerds, Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, so pretty excited to have you on the show today, Roger. How's it going?
Excited to be here. Thanks, Graham. It's great, Graham. Thank you. Thank you. I'm stoked to be here. Thanks.
Excellent. Perfect. Man, been keeping up with the World Cup at all?
Not really. Unfortunately, I had like a I know, and I apologize. I mean, I know that's kind of terrible. I think I watched a couple of matches, but mostly like recaps and things like that. But no, I haven't been following it. This is a football game, right? Yes, not soccer.
Yes, football over here. And, for the American audience, soccer. But
Graham Cookson would call it football, but I would call it soccer.
Yeah, Roger Craig Smith.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, just before the show, the only reason I brought it up was just before the show, Brazil just got trashed 7-1 or something by Germany. So
ow!
Yeah, ouch. But
that's a firm handing.
You're damn right. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Yeah. So Roger, you're a voice actor. I think that's what you're best known for. You've done a bit of other acting, a bit of directing, but I guess voice acting is your main thing. So can you can you tell us how you got into the gig, really, the voice acting gig?
Essentially, I got started I was doing stand-up comedy like sort of before, during, and after college, and I kept hearing people ask me, hey, you start doing hosting gigs where you're like an MC for an auction night, for some fundraiser for something, because you're doing stand-up later on, that kind of thing. And so people would sit there and go, oh, you got a speaking voice, you should look into voiceover. So I just kept hearing more and more people asking me about voiceover, and fewer and fewer people asking me about where I was going to be doing my comedy, and that became me looking into it, going, okay, I think I'll look into that. And so I basically looked into doing voiceover and took some classes, and then the rest, as they say, is history. That's the short form of it. Is that yeah, I was doing comedy, and I was doing voices and characters in the act, and I think that's one of the reasons why people were saying, hey, you should look into this. Uh-oh. I've lost you. Oh no, I haven't. Did I just mute you? No.
Oh, actually, there we go. My mic is actually muted. I apologize. See, professionalism. I love
silent treatment, Graham.
Man, so it wasn't that your comedy was terrible. It's just that your voice acting was just so much better that people.
That's fine. Thank you. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I feel like right now I should be answering you, going. But it turns out you could get that fixed at a doctor for free. Everything's fine. Yeah. I mean, it was an outpatient basis. Nothing was, nothing. It cleared up after about a week. Then I was fine. Anyway, Graham, what's your next question?
Story I've never heard. I love it. So I've just lost my train of thought. Brilliant. God. So recently, I guess some of your recent projects have involved the Batman franchise, which is pretty damn exciting. Probably, I guess, other than Sonic, he's probably the most established and well-known character that you voice, I guess, because even non-gamers will know who Batman is.
Absolutely, yep.
So, what was it like to actually be asked to voice such an iconic character? And I mean, one that's so popular at the moment as well. I mean,
It sounds so cliche to just say that it's surreal and unreal and all that. But it is. You can't. I still can't believe that. I mean, voicing, let alone a character like Sonic, voicing Captain America, Batman, Chris Redfield, Ezio, Auditore da Firenze, all these guys. Like having just one opportunity to do a character like that for one game is enough. And obviously, obviously Batman being no exception. And so it was. I still couldn't believe that I was given the opportunity and given the chance, and that WB Montreal went with me to give it a shot. It's unreal, and it's just a blast. I mean, it's both frightening and exhilarating all at the same time.
Fantastic. Like, when they actually approached you, like, were you expecting to get it? Did you have to audition for it, or was it just literally they sort of saw your CV and were like, this is the man, we like this guy?
No, I absolutely auditioned for it, and there was a callback audition, and it's the standard process for this sort of thing is you go in once, you go in twice, sometimes you go in 3 or 4 times while they whittle down their decisions, or to make sure that you're really the one that they want to work with. So yeah, it was. I mean, I got the phone call from Amanda Wyatt's our voice director on that project, and still couldn't believe it. And I was laughing because I was texting her as I left the audition. I realized that Troy Baker wasn't in the audition. And I thought this doesn't make any sense. So I texted Amanda. I said, please tell me they're bringing Troy in on this. He'd be perfect for Batman. And she just was kind of like, yeah, we'll talk later about that, because he had actually already gotten the role of the Joker. So he was already cast as Joker at that time, and I was thinking, oh, well, now I know what's going on. But yeah, it was, and then he and I like shared a moment where we were calling each other, going, dude, this could go, this could go either way. Like, we didn't know. It's a great thing to be a part of, but it was also one of those things where we knew that both Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill have been the voices for these characters for over 20 years, and you're not just gonna step into anything like that. Everybody's always saying, like, how was it feel, to step into the role or to take over? It's like no one was taking over, no one was stepping on anyone's toes. It was just an origin story. So we were both excited, but also very trepidatious, thinking, if this doesn't get executed very well, we could we could be hanging our hats on this, and you never know what you're going to get, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, that must have been it must have been tense, actually, I guess. Like,
but fun. I mean, like, intense. I mean, this job is a blast at all times anyway. So I mean, like, some people deal with real stress, like when a surgeon, has a very difficult surgery ahead of them. This was, I get to play the voice of Batman in a video game, so I don't think it's real. It's not real. It's not real world stress. It's voice actor stress, which is not necessarily all that based in reality by comparison to other people's realities.
You make a good point. Man, yeah. And, like, I guess this might sound a weird question, but how would you actually approach voicing Batman, especially compared to other characters in the past? Again, because he's such an iconic character, and he's got the gruff sort of voice. I can't do it. Yeah, perfect. Like, do you actually?
The one version.
Do you actually, like, put on some, like, black lycra, and, like, run around beating thugs up at night to get into character, or?
I do that when I'm not even preparing for a role. I just do that normally. I mean, doesn't everybody?
Yeah, sure.
No, there was no real preparation per se, because the truth of the matter is when you're playing something that's that iconic to a brand, that it's going to be a collaborative effort. There's just no way around it. You're gonna be collaborating with the director, with the writers, with the producers, with the creative developer, with the creative director, and anybody who's involved in this. That's been given the ability to make decisions on this, you're going to be working with them very closely. So we went in and actually played around with a lot of different types of voices for this. I mean, obviously not straying into cartoony or too far-fetched, but we were definitely playing around with more of the on-camera persona for a while, and trying to find a blend between what Kevin Conroy has established as the Batman that we all know in the games versus the Batman that we've seen other actors do in the animated work, other actors do in other video games, other actors do in the on-camera world. So we were trying to sort of take a blend of different things and see where we could go. I think in the end, Troy put it best when he said there was a point on the horizon that we knew the performances had to go to, and I think everybody sort of collectively was trying to conjure up something that would work to where people could go, yeah, I can understand that Roger's version is a younger version of what Kevin's version is.
Sure.
But not that it's like that's what we were trying to do, straight impressions or anything like that. So no, there wasn't really a tremendous amount of like preparation as much as it was you just kind of go in and start saying, all right, how do we want to? And a lot of voiceovers like that. You just throw it against the wall and see what sticks and see what people say. And this was kind of how we approached it from the beginning.
Brilliant. Yeah. And actually, just touching on, like, I guess your career, as it were, you've been going on acting for like about 10 years now. That's about right, isn't it? I think.
It might be. I was trying to do the math on that. I think I've been with my agency for well over 7 years now, and I would have been kind of, you know, pounding the pavement in my local area for about 2 to 2.5 years, maybe 3 years prior to that, trying to drum up my own work before, you know, running with the big dogs. So yeah, it might be about 10 years solid now.
Yeah, wow, that's well done.
It's unreal.
Over that time, have you noticed how the industry's changed at all or evolved, especially in regards to voice acting and in terms of like technological advancements? Because I mean, even over the last generation, you know, you saw the games change and get more in depth, especially with like cutscenes and like action sequences and acting, especially. Have you experienced much of the actual evolution in there, and have you noticed it at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say that for me, I've noticed that obviously you've got full performance capture that's happening in games where people are literally, they're taking the aesthetic likeness of them and the physical likeness of them and the vocal embodiment of these characters, and they're getting one actor to do everything. And so for me being of shorter stature, I've noticed that there's a lot of video game voiceover work that if it's a full performance capture, they wouldn't look at my body type and consider me for certain characters because I'm not tall enough, which has happened a couple of times. I've gone into an actual voiceover audition for a video game, and after looking at what they were looking for, I just walked in and went, how tall are you guys? And they're like, about 6'4". And I went, take care. Have a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and just And so, and that's, I mean, obviously I'm neither here nor there with that because this is the evolution of the industry, and I think, but as far as the technologies going, yeah, we're seeing them go away from reflective dots to now they're using just ink to just putting like for Assassin's Creed, we were towards the tail end of Revelations, we were using these helmets with a camera that came out and was like blocking right in front of you with lights shooting right back at you, and that was just to capture, and there were no dots on my face or anything. That was just to straight capture my facial expression. And then they'll take that, and I mean, the technology is growing so fast that I don't even know of like which one particular style is becoming the norm. Like if it's going to be VHS versus beta someday, who the beta is going to wind up being. But yeah, the technology of like performance capture has changed. They're doing different things with microphones now, mic placements. When we were recording for Batman, we had a backwards hat on with a small microphone, like a lav mic that was like right above the bridge of our nose kind of thing to get the voices to have more of a room sound so that it doesn't sound like like a professional voiceover microphone was recording everyone's performance so that everyone's it's like they do different things like that. They mic placement, all that stuff. So yeah, the technology is kind of evolving and growing along with the industry because boy oh boy, when you think about where games were at, so that's why it's a trip getting to play like Sega or getting to play Sonic. When I think back to like playing the Sega 16-bit, I mean back when that was like, dude, look at these graphics, 16-bit, and now you've got in the palm of your hand you have a little phone that can do 10 times whatever that thing was even dreaming of doing back in the 90s. So yeah, it's the technology is growing very quick, and sure, it's affecting the industry in a lot of ways in that regard. So we're seeing the way they're doing the performance capture is changing vastly.
Fantastic. I just have to ask, with the headset thing you was mentioning, when they're capturing your face, was that actually while you were speaking, like getting the cutscenes? It was. Wow, that must be pretty distracting.
Yeah, so it is for me. I don't really have any desire to do a lot of on-camera stuff. It's it kind of freaks me out, and I get much more self-conscious. I've heard of people saying that they get very self-conscious when they're in a voiceover booth because it's so quiet and it picks up everything that happens, stomach gurgles and all that kind of stuff. But I get super self-conscious when I know there's a camera on me, and I have a harder time interacting. To say nothing of also, I really like the theater of the mind element to the like an old radio play style of voiceover work, and suddenly I was being asked to work with other unbelievably talented actors. Like J.B. Blanc was in a scene with me in Assassin's Creed, and it was like I'm just sitting there going like I'm out of my element here, and I just felt like, dude, you know what you're doing, and I'm just trying to fake it like I know what I'm doing, and the reality was we were still two actors with helmets on, with cameras, in our faces, and you just kind of play make believe, just with a camera on. But no, I tend to prefer just straight voiceover. That's my preference.
And actually, when you're helping with the development of the games as well, like how involved or how close to the games do you get while they're being developed? I mean, do you actually get to see stuff that's actually being created? Because I guess like cutscenes and stuff, they happen throughout the whole game. That you actually get to see elements happening and break like as they develop and stuff, I guess.
It varies from project to project. It just depends on who's doing what and how they want to do it. It really just depends project to project. I mean, with Sonic, we might do like an initial pass to kind of like for cutscenes to get just the audio down, and then they might animate to the audio. Sometimes they've already had a scratch actor come in and somebody who's maybe an editor does the voice for a scratch performance, and then they want us to match that performance, but with the character voice later on. It all depends. It all depends.
Okay, cool. And do you ever get to actually play the games as they're being made, or?
You know what? I need to turn in my gamer card because I've barely played through half the stuff that I've been in recently, which is sad. I know it kills me because it's like it's one of those things where lately I've gotten busy enough with work and just life in general that you start to feel really guilty when you sit down to kill 2 or 3 hours, playing video games. When it used to be those marathon sessions of you'd start at 9 or 10 o'clock at night and go till 4 in the morning kind of thing. And those days are sadly long gone for me right now. And but yeah, I like to play. I love to play the games because we are the people that are involved in this are just as big a fan as anybody else. And so at the very end, we rarely get to see what the finished product is. And mostly because I don't think they want us voice actors to blab about it on the internet, and and so they keep it under tight wraps. So it's kind of like once it finally hits the store shelves, I'm usually one of the first in line to go get it. I actually would go to the midnight releases of the Assassin's Creed games at the local GameStop to pick up my copy. I just wanted to kind of see the fans there, kind of thing, and and go yeah, all right, kind of sneak in and.
Do you ever like bust out the voice at all?
No, never, no. Because then it just looks weird. Then it's like, then you just look like you're like, yeah, man, I'm here at midnight to buy the game that I'm in. And did you know that I'm the voice? You should really think that's cool.
Look at me.
No, it's fun because exactly. Hey, look at me. I don't get enough attention as it is, man. I need more attention.
Man.
No, that's what I don't want to do.
Yeah, but it must almost be kind of weird for a voice actor because you can't. Here's the thing: say if movie launch and stuff, Brad Pitt turns up, everyone goes screaming because it's Brad Pitt. Everyone recognizes him. For a voice actor, I mean, some people might know what you look like from googling on the internet, but you're not really going to know, especially because the voices you use aren't your normal voice. Even if they just heard you speaking, they wouldn't recognize you. So there must be a bit weird, I guess, for the voice actors going out there and sort of.
No, I think if anything, though, that's kind of what I enjoy the most. I mean, I think someone told me that Tom Kenny said there was if voice acting or if entertainment was the world of superheroes, voice actors would have the power of invisibility. And obviously, he's the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants, and I work with him on Clarence on Cartoon Network. He plays the voice of Sumo on that show, and it's like. He's massive. I mean, who doesn't know SpongeBob SquarePants? But many people out there would very likely not know who Tom Kenny is if they saw him on the street. And that's kind of what he's saying. He's like, you're as invisible as you want to be, but if you want to get out there and tell people what you do and get out, in front of the camera, you can if you want, I suppose. 9 times out of 10, they usually just ask me to leave. So.
Man.
Like, yeah, get away from the camera. Could you just,
Yeah.
See, this is where I'm much more comfortable behaving like this. That's my preferred type of voice acting right there. There's no that, or at least my right nipple through a shirt poking through. That apparently
drives the ladies crazy. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, doesn't it always? Yeah.
Man. Well, we've sort of briefly gone over it already, that you've voiced some of the most recognizable characters in video game history, like Ezio from Assassin's Creed, Chris Redfield, Sonic the Hedgehog. You've done voice acting for loads of cartoons and films and stuff. You've been in Star Wars franchise, Marvel Avengers, Naruto, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Spider-Man, Metal Gear Solid. Like, is there any particular role or gig that you were so excited about or really nervous about? Anyone that you were like, oh my god, I've got it, I've done it, I'm on this game or show? Like,
you never feel comfortable, and you're always nervous and excited about every single one. But I never feel like, here we go, I've arrived. Just because I think the nature of the beast with entertainment is, especially from the acting side of things, is that you're constantly feeding the machine to try to drum up the next job, and no one particular job is going to be around forever and necessarily fund your activities in life. So it's, from a job perspective, you're always trying to find the next job, and you're only as good as your last gig. So you're constantly, kind of nervous about what might happen as a result of, a poor performance on this. So I think I called it the please like me, element to a lot of actors, which is like we're trying to maybe either prove something to ourselves or prove something to someone else in our life, and to try to figure that stuff out as we go out and try to, do better at the next gig or the next job. So, I mean, every single time you book a job, it's the most exhilarating experience. It's fun to book the work, and then sometimes you have the apprehension of going, "Gosh, I hope I do well. I hope they, I hope they like what I do." So there's, it's not always the most comfortable feeling, because you're just constantly trying to hopefully impress the people that are on the other side of the glass.
Yeah, man. Okay. Well. This is a Sega website, so I think we should actually get onto some Sonic the Hedgehog talk now,
let's do it.
specifically. So you've been voicing Sonic since like 2010, I think. Is that right? You've done the last.
2010, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you've done quite a few games now. Actually, is it like 10? I think 8 games or something, and two sort of television film roles, I think.
Yeah, it might be a total. I honestly don't know the total number that we've done since 2010, but
okay.
Sometimes they have these little ports and things that happen off of, like, branching off of other games, that kind of thing. So I'm usually not privy to all that.
Yeah. Which, like, just out of the Sonic the Hedgehog games, which one was your favorite experience especially working with Sonic and the voice of Sonic?
Honestly, this is going to sound cliche and it's going to sound like a plug or whatnot, but I mean, working on Sonic Boom has been such a blast. Everybody involved, we were having a ton of fun. It was an interesting process to try to take these characters that everybody's so familiar with, and especially that's been so well established, and then to kind of play around within their universe, and like with regards to the TV series, you've got still the action, still the drama of the franchise, but we're playing a lot more with the comedy of it and having a lot more fun with the characters. Whereas on the Wii U version of the game, it's very much it's far more action oriented and it's so there's still the comedic elements, but they're not necessarily at the forefront in comparison to the TV series. And so it was all these little, like, challenges of the way we were sort of finessing the performances of the characters throughout, but it resulted in us having an absolute blast playing around with the characters. And I think it'll have a much more organic and free form kind of feel to it, especially on the TV series, that's for sure. So it's been fun because it's kind of taken the reins off a little bit, and messing around with these characters and trying to maybe refresh them as best we can, and hopefully that's what everybody gets to experience.
Yeah, fantastic. And just out of curiosity, how did you feel about the Sonic the Hedgehog characters' like image, I guess it were, in Sonic Boom? Because there's been a lot of controversy around that. How they've all got scarves and stuff on.
I picked this time to yawn, obviously, right? That would be like, oh, that controversy, that all. I mean, that's it. You know what? I actually get that. I totally understand where a lot of people, because obviously these are characters that we love and adore, and it's no different than when people find out that the voice of Batman is going to be different in this next Arkham game. People start to go like, oh, don't mess with this thing that I adore and that I love. And to that, my only response is that it's like almost all things that we support and that we follow, there has to be a growth. There has to be like an evolution to these things. Otherwise, it'll get really stale. And just know that every single person that puts their hands on this, their desire is to enhance and shape something and make it better. and it doesn't always mean that fans will view it that way when it comes to casting choices in the role of Batman. You know, people flipped out about Ben Affleck, and you go, just let it happen. Let's see what. Let's say, I guarantee you, it's not as if Ben Affleck's sitting there going, boy, oh boy, I can't wait to ruin this character for everybody. He really wants to go out. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I'm hoping the fans are just as excited as I am to see the final sort of execution of these games and the TV series. Because a lot of times we don't get to see it. We just go in and record our voices, and they take it and they go do something with it. But I always feel like everybody's got this strong desire to do the best thing they can with it, and so yeah, it's a little different. It's a little, it's got a little bit of a change in the feel to it, but I trust in the people who are making these creative decisions, that they're trying to do it to do something better with it. And I think it's fun. It looks cool. It still looks like Sonic to me. It still looks like Knuckles, even though he's a little bigger now. You know, he's been hitting the gym. But I think you gotta kind of mess around and play with those things. If you go back and look at the way Mickey Mouse looked, you know, way back, it's vastly different than he does today, and that's just what happens to characters. So, but I also understand why people would get, you know, why they react as passionately as they do. It's because the fan base is exceptionally passionate about these characters, and they don't want them ruined, even though that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, true.
Happen.
Speaking about like the fandom and stuff, like, are you shocked at how, I guess the best word I can phrase is hardcore, like some of the fans get, especially with Sonic the Hedgehog? So I mean, there's a lot of big fans out there, and do you ever think, well, this is actually getting kind of scary? I mean, I get.
No, yeah. I get it, and I also think it's one of the more unique elements to voice actors by comparison to, say, on-camera actors. Thankfully, I always say the numbers of folks that are involved that are passionate about voices in video games is fairly small compared to the people who are actually all playing video games. And from that, the people that would be, you know, passionate enough to want to find out or reach out to you to either, you know, try to skewer you or to pay you a compliment, it's interesting because we're a little bit more accessible than, say, some of these, you know, on-camera celebrities that might not be able to, with millions and millions of fans of them because they're celebrities, they wouldn't really be able to answer any of those emails or the text messages, not text messages, but the Twitter messages, that kind of thing. So it doesn't bother me. I think it's incredible to be a part of it, and it comes with the territory. You know that anytime you're taking over a role that's been done previously, or even if you're creating a new role, I don't know if you're aware of this, Graham, but sometimes the internet can be a negative place, and
yeah,
strangely enough, right? And so you just know that there's going to be people who are, for whatever reason, they're just angry about whatever, who knows, and if you're accessible, they'll take it out on you. And then there's a lot of people who are really love this stuff, and that's the fun part. It's neat to see how much these characters mean to people, and for whatever reason, why they're passionate about it. And to be a small part of that is incredibly humbling, and it's an honor. It's a blast, and to have done it for so many different big characters for me is just weird. Every time I hear that. Really? Batman, Captain, all this day, you just go, okay, that's fine. All right. The phone's going to stop ringing tomorrow. I'm done. The industry's going to figure out I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm fired.
Yeah.
Someday.
Man, yeah. Just speaking about the internet being a negative place, if Chris was here, he'd probably mention the fact that I was once given a death threat once because of a review I wrote that someone didn't agree with.
There you go. See,
I felt my reason was perfectly sound, but he was just like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I love that. Like, I disagree with you, therefore your life needs to end.
Yeah.
What?
It's like, if you enjoyed the game, that's awesome. But I just let people know I didn't think it was great. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Man.
It's unfortunate.
And what? Actually, I don't know if you can let us know this at all. But what has been your worst voice acting experience? I mean, it can be to do with the actual role, or I guess something that's happened after the role, maybe with a game. Is there any that you could?
I don't know that there's actually like a worst like voiceover experience. I mean, how do you say that any day behind a voiceover microphone is a bad day? I mean, again, you have to kind of keep in mind what a bad job could really be like. And I've had bad jobs, but it's like, you know, I'm in an air-conditioned building with people that are, you know, bringing me cookies, and it's, you know, you're in front of really cool equipment, and there's you get to go in and just kind of be a total goofball in front of a microphone. It's a great way to earn a living. So there's real no bad or worst voiceover experience. Other than just funny lines and things like that make you crack up, that you go, huh, okay. I always tell the story of Castle Shikigami 2, which was like my very first video game role, and it was just a random. There was no script translator. It was like there was no director per se. It was all just kind of like an engineer and I on a Friday afternoon recording voices for this bad port of this bad translation of a video game, and we kept thinking that the word might was like a battle cry, so we kept saying like, might. And then like 3/4 of the way through the script, we realized that might was another character's name, and it was too late to go back and fix it all, so we just left it in. And I think it was on that Audio Atrocities website that it made. So yeah, that might be my worst experience, but even then, I was still having a ton of fun, and I was getting paid to be a voice in a video game. I thought it was the greatest day of my life. So.
That's brilliant. And just flip that question on its head, I guess. Have there been any roles or any like positions you've been given that you were kind of apprehensive about, that you thought, but actually turned out to be a really fun role, that you actually that was bloody good fun?
I mean, sometimes it can be almost every single job. You don't know what because there's very little control over what I do. I can deliver a performance that's completely editable by an engineer, and they can go in and change the timing of your jokes. They can go in and change the timing of your screams and your battle cries, and they can pitch you up and pitch you down and do all sorts of different things to your performance. So you're always that's why I say it's such a collaborative effort. You're always working together with a team of people to create one singular thing. So it's there's 100 and some odd people that might work on a film, and there's hundreds of people that work on video games. I think at one point they were saying that there were 300 or 400 people that were working on Assassin's Creed, and they're all responsible for creating that one collective experience that we as fans get to go out and experience. So I don't know. It's the collaborative element kind of takes a lot of the pressure off, I think, to a certain degree, but it's also you know that it's like there's a lot that you don't have control over, so that can be kind of nerve-wracking. You kind of sit there and think, well, I'll go in and do the absolute best I can do, and then you birth this vocal baby to someone and hand it over, and then go, here you go, raise it well.
Yeah, perfect. Man, as I guess out of all the games out there and stuff, you said yourself you're a bit of a gamer. Like, is there any game franchise that you would want to be part of, or a character you'd love to voice at all?
Gosh, this is also, it sounds cliche, but I've done it. I mean, it's to think that the only other thing I can think of is the next one, and that also sounds like a really cliche answer, but it's whatever the next job is. That's a new frontier. That's a new thing to try to go and experience, and a new story and a new character to try to convey, and to try to have it not sound like other characters, because inherently we're all sort of trying to battle not sounding like something else that we've already done, and therein lies a challenge. But yeah, I would say, I mean, getting to be a part of the Sonic franchise, the Batman franchise, the Marvel Captain America Avengers Assemble franchise, Planes, the movie, Soul Calibur, I mean, all these things that I've been able to do, to say nothing of Assassin's Creed, it's just insane. It's nuts. So it's like, to sit there and think, like, what else would you want to be a part of? It's like, I can't think of anything else, and if I'm lucky enough to get another gig in any of those arenas, then, like, holy cow, I mean, that'll just be the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I actually, you just brought up a point that I wanted to ask you, really. I know it's like your job and stuff, and you just mentioned, like, you didn't want your voices to sound too much like other characters you've done. I mean, in the last year, well, the games have been released in the last year or so, but you had like Batman, Sonic, Captain America, and you also got a recurring slot on the regular show. Have there actually been times where you've actually started, I don't know, you've been doing the regular show and suddenly Sonic the Hedgehog sort of come out or something like that, or Captain America, Batman have crossed over?
Who knows? I mean, I guarantee you there's, I'm a human being after all, so I think there's certain elements to this where I can only push voices so far before it's like you start to hear Roger in something. And so, yeah, I think I'm sure there's been times, but I'm always trying to be very aware of that when doing voices. If like, oh, this sounds a little like Sonic, or oh, this is getting a little too close to Batman, or we'll try to mix it up a little bit. But yeah, I'm sure it's happened at some point. Oh, I think I might have gotten muted again here.
But sorry, it's my mic. I keep accidentally clicking the button. Sorry.
I might have to split in about 5 minutes too. I don't know if that gives us enough time. Sorry.
Apologies.
No, it's okay.
We'll try and wrap this up quickly. I guess.
Sorry.
What's actually been your hardest character to do or accent to do?
Probably Ezio. I would say Ezio because it was just. I obviously don't speak Italian, and I'm not Italian. About as far away from Italian as you can get. And so that was a challenge, just trying to learn the rules of the dialect and kind of fudge with some of the rules of the dialect to make it accessible and or at least a little more easily understood. And we kind of messed around with a lot of things like that, but that was the most challenging and the most gratifying and the most rewarding in many ways.
Brilliant. I've got a couple of questions from our fans. We've sort of chose just a small selection. There were actually quite a few I was going to go through, but because time's short, I'm going to go through a couple. From Knuckles Don't Chuckle, he says, "Can you sing?"
Can I sing? Probably, and probably not very well.
Okay.
But yes, I did have a background in musical theater and did sing, but I don't think I have a good singing voice.
Okay.
It doesn't stop me from trying, though.
Well, a few beers in you, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's more like scream singing.
Yeah, I think that's how I handle it normally. And Kappa Lizzie, she's asked, or she says, "Will you be at Sonic Boom?" Do you know
Kappa. I know Kappa Lizzie.
Oh yeah.
And she's of course trying to find out. I have no idea. I mean, I honestly, I was finding out about that event a little while back when I was seeing the announcements for that. When it was Sonic Boom the event and then Sonic Boom the TV series, it was like Sonic Boom the event. Interesting. So no, I honestly I have no idea. And yeah, I mean, it'd be fun to get out there, but sometimes it's a scheduling issue or. Sometimes who knows? I honestly don't know who's running what and who's involved, and so I just kind of go. Do you want me? Where do you want me? Okay, I'm on my way.
Cool.
But no, I have no idea.
Yeah, so maybe. Should we do that as a maybe down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not say? Well, I mean, but that maybe is also kind of very leading. So maybe and maybe not. How about that?
Perfect. That's it's the easiest way to get around it, I guess.
Especially when I'm in the dark.
Yeah. Actually, very recently we had a competition on our website, and I'd like you to pick two numbers between 1 and 30, because you're going to pick the two winners for this competition, basically, if that's okay.
7
and
29.
7 and 29. Okay. So I was trying to find them. Okay. First winner is Gemma Stannard. Awesome. I would read out their stuff they sent, but it's going to take too long. And 29 was that. Zachariah Cloutier. So congratulations, guys. You've won Sonic the Hedgehog Ultimate Collection Pack on Steam, which is brilliant. I will sort of arrange that as soon as possible. So well done. Good for choosing those two numbers. Cool. And two more questions, if that's okay, if I can go with it.
Yeah. Tag, Mary, Kill.
One, and then that's going to be one of them. First one is, if I was to break into your house right now, if Chris was to break into your house right now, what games would he find in your consoles, if any at all? I know you said you don't get much time to play on them, but...
Tons of My Little Pony games, Garfield the Cat games. No. What would you... In my console right now, I'm trying to think. You'd probably find Lego Marvel. And sadly, Arkham Origins, because between the two, I'm still trying to finish those games through. But yeah, probably those two. And the worst part is they would both be on a PS3 and an Xbox 360 because my One and my PS4 are still in their boxes, brand new. Haven't even opened them yet.
Man.
Again, I'm turning. I know. It's like, sorry, I hang my head in shame.
It's okay, I don't have either of them. That's because I can't afford them. I just literally have
there you go. Now I sound like I'm bragging. It's like, well, my PS4 is still in its box.
You're like one of those guys on those websites who buy the new console and go out to people in front of the line, just smash on it and go, yeah.
And smash it, yeah. Exactly. That's awful.
That's what I'm feeling right now, man. It's painful.
Sorry.
And as you just brought it up, the shag, marry, kill question. So if essentially, if you had a game that was a bit of an embarrassment, which game would you shag, as it were? Which one would you, if you could live with any game for the rest of your life, which one would you marry? And if there's one game you just had to get rid of, which one would you kill?
Shag The Last of Us.
Okay.
Marry any Lego video game. I would marry any Lego video game. And I would probably have to go back and kill Castle Shikigami too, so that it doesn't follow me for the rest of my life.
I need to actually play that
game. Might. Life means pain. Why? The writing was atrocious. It's a very funny. If you ever get a chance.
Yeah, I think that's going to be on my list.
There you go.
Perfect. Well, I think our time's actually run out, unfortunately. But it's been such a pleasure.
I apologize. It's a tight scheduled day, man. I apologize.
Yeah, it's also our fault for running a little bit late. Or Google Plus explain them.
At least we got to have fun with our last names on this. Graham Cookson.
Yeah, Roger Craig Smith. Brilliant. We'd love to have you back on the show at some point. Hopefully when Sonic Boom actually gets released, and that would be amazing.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Fall this year, right?
Yeah.
A game and a TV series. I cannot wait. I'm sure we'll talk probably prior to that, or who knows.
Brilliant.
But right around there for sure.
Well, I'm sure the fans thank you for coming on the show as well. And well, have a good day, and we'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, SEGA Nerds. See ya. Bye.